Have you ever felt like you're talking to a brick wall? You know, like when you're trying to share something you really care about, something that's important to your faith, but it feels like no one's really listening?
Yeah, I know that feeling.
It's like, are my words even making a difference?
It's almost like shouting into the void, right?
Exactly.
That's the feeling I get when I read the first verse of Mosiah, chapter 14. It says, "Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed?"
Wow. That's powerful.
It is, isn't it?
It really resonates, especially for those of us who try to share our faith with others.
You know, and it's amazing because this whole chapter in Mosiah is actually a quote from the prophet Isaiah from the Old Testament, hundreds of years before the Book of Mormon.
So we've got these ancient words, these prophecies from Isaiah that somehow find their way into the Book of Mormon.
Exactly. It's like a thread woven through time, connecting these two scriptures.
That's incredible.
And what's even more mind-blowing is that Isaiah is talking about Jesus Christ, but he's not describing him the way we might expect.
You mean like those classic images we see? Paintings, stained glass windows?
Right, exactly. Isaiah paints a very different picture.
So what does he say?
Well, let's look at verses 2 and 3. It says, "For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not."
No beauty that we should desire him. That's unexpected.
It is. You know, we tend to think of Jesus as this, well, beautiful figure, but Isaiah is saying there's nothing outwardly appealing about him.
It makes you wonder what he's trying to tell us.
I think Isaiah is challenging our assumptions. He's saying that true greatness, true worthiness, it doesn't come from outward appearances.
Okay, I'm starting to see where you're going with this.
The Messiah wasn't going to arrive with worldly power and glory. He would come in humility and suffering.
So let's talk about that suffering. Verses 4 and 5 say, "Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed." This is pretty intense.
It is. It gets to the core of the atonement. Isaiah is saying that Jesus, he willingly took on the consequences of our sins. He suffered for us.
It's like he's carrying the weight of all our mistakes, all our shortcomings.
Precisely. And through his suffering, he offers us a way back to God, a path to healing and reconciliation.
It's such a powerful concept that even though we mess up, there's still hope for us.
And Isaiah really drives that point home in verse 6. He uses this powerful image of sheep going astray. It says, "All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way, and the Lord hath laid on him the iniquities of us all."
It's like we all stray from the path sometimes.
We do. We make choices that lead us away from God. But Isaiah is telling us that we don't have to stay lost.
So we have this picture of suffering, of sacrifice. But what I find really striking is the silence. You know how Jesus responds to all of this?
Yes. Let's look at verses 7 through 9. "He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb, so he openeth not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment, and who should declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgressions of my people was he stricken." It's incredible. He doesn't fight back, doesn't defend himself. He endures it all in silence.
That silence, it's so powerful.
It speaks volumes about his love, his willingness to submit to God's will, even when facing such incredible injustice.
It's hard to even comprehend.
It is. But even in the midst of all that suffering, Isaiah offers us a glimmer of hope.
Well, tell me more about that.
In verses 10 through 12, it says, "Yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. He shall see the travail of his soul and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities."
It sounds like he's saying that Jesus' suffering, it wasn't in vain, that there's a purpose to it.
Exactly. He uses this beautiful image of seeing his seed, meaning that even though he faced pain and rejection, his mission would ultimately succeed.
He shall see his seed, countless people coming to believe in him.
That's right. And then it says, "The pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. God's plan of salvation will be fulfilled."
It's a powerful message of hope. A reminder that even in the darkest moments, faithfulness can lead to incredible triumph. just like Jesus.
And it makes me wonder, how does understanding Christ's sacrifice, as described by Isaiah, change how we approach our own lives, our own challenges?
That's a really great question. Something for all of us to think about.
It is, isn't it?
Well, thank you so much for this incredible discussion.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we hope you found this inspiring. Be sure to subscribe for more discussions. Until next time.